we're talking about dissolving thyroid nodules.
Yeah.
And you came up with a bunch of things that are, some of them are dietary, but they're all kind of fast weight loss diet type things because they're all about, altering your physical body, basically, such as using a blue crystal. Like, both of you could test, like, is it possible that for certain people, use of a blue crystal might cause weight loss?
I got a yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for certain. It doesn't mean everybody, See, what people always need to get about what we're doing is this isn't a program. We're not going to tell you to eat carrots.
Right.
We're going to give you a perspective on how to manage yourself for the rest of your life so that you have the body that you want. That's what the fast what. And the main tool is fasting of some kind. Now, what have you done with your your things for dissolving the thyroid nodules? Which ones have you done? I like to hear you tell your stories from the last week. What have you done with that, and what has worked for you?
You want to go first, Jen?
Okay, sure, I'll go first. Well, I do. I eat intuitively, and I'm pretty good at doing that. So I can actually tune into my thyroid when I eat something and know if it's good or bad for me. So I do that. And yes, I know birthday cake is probably not the way to go, but I can also do a little manipulation on those special occasions, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And let's see, what else do I do? I go to the hub, and there's always something there to do as far as removing dysfunctions, and I think this all plays into my thyroid thing.
Yeah.
So I do that on a regular basis. I go through the pathologies. I go through just removing thyroid nodules on a daily basis. And let's see, what else do I do? I have checked for herbal supplements, and I got a yes on some Ayurvedic herbal, mixtures that my niece, who's an Ayurvedic practitioner, has put together for me. And I couldn't tell you exactly what it consists of, but I did check and see if that would be good for me, and I got a yes, so I'll be starting that. And let's see, what else have I done? I think that's about it for now. If we think of something, I'll mention it as we go along.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
That's good input.
Okay, right.
Shall I tell you what I've done?
Okay.
Okay, last time we talked about finding the thyroid in the neck, at the right point where the nodule is, and remove the energy from that. And I did that in addition to my usual removing. So I did that, and then I looked for thyroid nodules in my bodies, and I removed them where I found them. I bring my thyroid, I check if it's hyperactivated. If yes, I bring it back into balance. I check if it's in alliance with me, and I align it with my mission. Then I have used, I talked about blue, color blue to put around my neck. I bought okay, can you see it? I think so. I bought a piece of pure wool, and I keep it inside. And when my intuition tells me to wear it, I put it around my throat. And I have used the blue crystal. Oops. I used to use the blue crystal, excuse me, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Okay, it's a blue quartz. I don't know if you can see it, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
I think it's an important, the type of crystal. The importance is the color because it works on the throat chakra. And of course, you can't pick up a crystal and use it. You have to purify it before, which is very important. And there are different techniques. This time I used Immunics. So what I did was, first of all, I connected to the harmonic. Then I connected to the crystal. And I removed all negativities and all impurities because these crystals have been worked on, okay, by people. They are not found in the earth this way. So maybe the people who have touched these were nervous, angry, suicidal, who knows. So I removed the impurities and negativities. Then I asked to connect with the deva of the crystal, which is, I think you both know, but it's a sort of an angel or spirit of nature. And I asked the crystal if it was willing to work with me on my thyroid, and I got yes. So I programmed it, simply talked to him like I would talk to a friend, and I told him what I wanted. Basically, I told him that I wanted it to put back my thyroid into balance and dissolve the nodules. And I also, before doing all this, I put the crystal for 1 minute under the running water, okay? And this has to be done every time you use the crystal, because when the crystal works for you, he absorbs whatever is wrong, in this case in the throat chakra. So I put in the programming also that every time I rinse the crystal, it will keep the programming intact. And another good way to cleanse the crystal is to put it out in the sun, which I did today because it was sunny. And yes, and there's another thing. I remember this book, which is, I don't know if you can, it's in Italian, I'm sorry. It's a book by Louise Hay. And the title in English would be Heal Your Body.
Right.
And at the end of the book, she talks about all your organs and what they mean. So I went, you see, you have a list, it's very difficult that you can read, but anyway, you have a list of
the idea being that
organs,
the idea being that you can test through those.
Yes, and no, I didn't test through those. I went directly to the thyroid.
Oh,
okay, here it is. And it means humiliation and reaction, sort of, I never can get what I want. So this was very important because I worked on a trauma concerning that, and I'll keep working on traumas.
So you
I got traumas too.
Oh, you. So you're, Jen, are you saying that your thyroid nodule was partially caused by traumas?
Yeah.
And that's what Ross is saying. That's what you're saying too, right, Ross?
Yes.
So okay, one thing I notice about myself. You know how you were talking about putting the crystal under running water?
Yes.
Well, I make sure, like today was the first really cold day, and you know, I still make
60 degrees.
No, it actually went down to 50 last night. Anyway, I made sure that I went into the pool, and because you do with your body the same thing, like you want to put your body under cold water.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
with
yeah.
cold running water, you know, the same as your crystal.
Yes.
If you're going to treat your crystal good, you better treat your body good, you know.
Yes.
Another thing, when you were talking about, you know, putting the, you know, like the color blue around your neck to heal your thyroid.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you a story. A long time ago, I was trying to cure warts, and Franny cured hers by removing the virus from her spiral body. She just kept taking it out, and all her warts disappeared. And I tried that for quite a while, and I realized I just didn't have the patience because I didn't really notice the warts. They were almost microscopic. They were on my palm of my hand, some of them. And we really had to like look closely to see them. So it wasn't like I had any kind of symptom that I wanted to get rid of it. I just couldn't remember to keep checking my bodies. For the warts are a virus, and you should be able to kill it, but I just couldn't remember to keep checking my bodies. And I was walking down the slope to go to the running path in Wissahickon Park, and I tested. I said, is there a plant in Wissahickon Park that I can use? And got yes. And it turned out I was standing in the middle of a huge field of it. It was jewelweed. So I just bent down, picked up some jewelweed, and rubbed it on my hand. And this was something I could remember to do because I went running there every single day, and every day I passed that walked through that jewelweed. So of course the jewelweed reminded me that I'm supposed to be curing my warts. See, I had this reminder. It was like writing myself a note. Every time I saw the jewelweed, I said, oh, I better rub some of this on myself. And so after a week or two, the warts disappeared. And then I went on a trip. I went, you know, out west, and Santa Fe, and then we drove to LA. We were staying in Malibu with a friend of ours on one of the cliffs over the ocean. And in the interim, I had developed a plantar's wart that was very painful. So I really wanted to cure this, and I kept thinking, you know, oh God, there's no jewelweed around here. And that was the way my mind was in this rut. You know, I was thinking I need jewelweed to cure this, and it doesn't grow in this area. And anyway, one day as I was walking down to the beach, it was the same experience exactly. I was walking on a downsloping path, and I asked a question, is there a plant here that does what jewelweed will do? And I was again standing in the middle of a field full of it. It was purslane growing on the side of the cliff. The whole entire cliff was covered with it. Wow. And I looked down at it, and I realized that it had the same properties. I don't know if you know what the two plants look like, but it's that kind of, that viscous stuff inside of it that does the trick, see? And you can also, when you drink the juice of it, it has a certain prickly feeling. And that, I mean, probably the best cure for warts might be lobelia, which is just so irritating. I once drank some lobelia juice, and I just was dying. I felt like I'd eaten a piece of cactus, you know, so I never took and I even bought lobelia tincture, and I took some of that. I got the same effect from it, you know, of that prickliness. But anyway, so I picked some of this thing, and I realized what I had to do was I had to like grind it up in the juicer and put it in a big bandage and put it on my, you know, on my toe. But it was like really late at night when I got the stuff. And I said, I'm going to do this tomorrow at lunch, but you know what I did? I took the purslane to bed with me, and I spent the night holding it in my hand.
Wow, great.
And believe it or not, it made me feel, I don't know if it actually had much of an effect on the wart, but because it had to be bandaged on to, you know, to be on the wart, but and I felt so much better holding that purslane. So
yeah, sure.
Changed my energy. So just a story about, this is fast weight loss. You know, this is how you, like, you work with your body. You know, you access things and you like interact with them. And see, another thing, what we're talking about here, and let me pause for just a second, and we'll have a moment of silence. Okay, What we're talking about here is emotional eating, that people have to stop eating. Am I right?
Yes.
You know, like, remember when I said the thing about the birthday cake earlier?
Yeah.
Jen? And you said,
Yeah.
no, I don't eat birthday cake. And then you might eat some, but, you know, you'll compensate for it somehow. But you could also do without it. You're a person who can do without birthday cake. Do you know that there are a lot of people out there who they eat emotionally? And if there's birthday cake, they have to have a slice. They can't go without having a slice of birthday cake. And I haven't eaten a piece of cake since I was in Malibu that time, as a matter of fact, because my hosts got married and everybody brought cakes. And so I decided I was going to have cake for dinner instead of, you know, my regular dinner, and just see what it was like. And it made me sick, so I never had any more cake after that. I just decided to test cake out. But you're somebody who, you have control of your eating.
I like to think so.
Yeah. You don't eat emotionally. The thing is, remember what you were saying about the trainers, that you have had many trainers who put you on diets and so on?
Yeah, yeah.
That is a kind of emotional eating.
Yeah.
But it's the kind that I call mental emotional eating.
Yeah.
See, what happens is, like, you know, you have the mental body and the emotional body. And do you know, Jen, do you know what happens if your mental body is damaged? Let's say your mental body gets damaged and you can't produce thoughts about certain things. You can't think, you know, about them. What do? Do you know?
Well, you act out in a dysfunctional way, I'm sure.
Yeah. You will produce emotions to compensate for the lack of thoughts.
Yeah.
Like if you can't think about something, you'll have an emotion about it to substitute for thinking. You have to do something. What happens then if your emotional body gets damaged? What do?
Vice versa.
Yeah, you produce thoughts, more thought.
Right.
So you run into all these people who are very mental.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're always telling you their thoughts. Deepak Chopra is like that. His emotional body is very, very, like, devastated. You know, which is why he's fat. You know who Deepak Chopra is, right?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, he's a Jewish doctor. Just kidding. Anyway, I couldn't resist. It just popped out. But anyway, that's the thing. And he writes his thoughts down, and people buy them. They actually pay him for these thoughts that he writes down. You know?
It's very famous.
Very famous, you know.
Yeah.
There's lots of very famous people, you know, who do, that's what they do for a living. They write down their thoughts. They often have damaged emotional bodies. So Louise Hay, though, is different. She's good. The thing about Louise Hay is she's an intuitive person, and she writes down what she intuits, which is, you know, that's usually a good thing to have around. I've always liked that. Particular book that you have, I think, is a good book.
Yeah. I have all her books.
Deepak Chopra also wrote a book that I really like and I use as a reference, and it's you could even write this down and see if you can get it. It's called The 7 Laws of Spiritual Success. The 7 Laws, and this particular book is, he did a really great job on this, because this is about, it's basically what Meher Baba taught in a more expanded form. See, I got it, like I spent my life with Meher Baba, so I got it, you know, sort of assimilated for many, many years. And Deepak Chopra's book is sort of a summary of these things that, you know, Hindus know, like the law of least effort and so on, you know, like not just, if you're working too hard, you're going to fail. What you do has to be easy. And that's the thing about the weight loss thing. It has to be easy or you're not going to win with it.
What was the name of the Deepak Chopra book? What was the name?
The 7 Laws of spiritual success. This is a book I recommend because, you know, it summarizes this stuff, and you guys are on the spiritual path, so you should know this stuff, and it's nice for you to have a summary.
Right.
Okay, now I want to tell you something else, that a problem that a lot of people have, this is going back to the emotional eating issue, is that, like, okay, let's talk about, I have a friend who seems to react to any kind of advice as an attack. Have you ever known anybody like that?
Yes.
Well, my husband would say that to me.
Okay. What about Ross? What do you say? Do you have your...
It's full of people like that. They take the advice as a critique. They are confused about that. Or maybe they ask for advice, you give your advice, and they don't like it, so they get angry. It happens to me.
Or my favorite is they want the advice, they totally agree with you, and then they just do the exact opposite.
Yes.
Yeah, also.
Yes. Yes. And what I wanted to say about this, see, I have this friend who brought it to mind, but actually, this is a lot of people. This is a lot of people. And this is a type, this is an example of eating governed emotions. That people, eating governed by emotions, that people have an emotional reaction when they, in fact, people have emotional reactions to books about what to eat. They have an emotional reaction to, you know, things they see on TV about it. You know, and they start to, like, instead of like seeing if there's something they can apply there, they have an opinion. And you know, you did something with Franny recently, because Franny's been trying to lose weight, and you actually, I think, maybe got her to stop that. And that's good, because trying to lose weight is a type of emotional eating.
Yeah.
You know, and what you decided, you both decided together, is that you're just going to do everything on the hub. You're just going to test and see what she needs to do and do that, and then you know, and that's the thing to do.
Right.
Because I think that we were trying too hard, and as we weren't getting any good result, I thought that maybe it was time to take a break and work on something else. And in the end, probably, hitting the hub, we will be working on the right thing anyway, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Completely agree.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. There's something like a story, like you gave me an idea of, and this is a good thing to pass on to the people listening to this anyway, you know, of putting, you know, some sliced cucumbers and lemon juice in a pitcher of water. And then you drink the water like the next day. You leave it overnight. Oh, there you've got yours right there. Okay. Yeah. And I have a pitcher in the refrigerator. And I've been doing this, and I really like it. And what it turns out to be is it's sort of a quick fast. Like, for example, suppose you have that at 8 in the morning, and then you don't have anything till lunch. And this is something, a good thing to fast on, because it speeds up the metabolism.
Right.
And Franny started doing it for a while, and then she stopped, and she said she didn't want to do it anymore. And I asked her why, and she said, well, she didn't lose any weight when she was doing it. And see, the thing about, what I realized is that the thing about whether it's curing your herpes or, you know, curing your, you know, problem with being angry at your family, or curing your obesity, or putting on weight, or whatever it is you're trying to do, you can't go after results directly. You have to go after the signal that you're getting the result, and the signal is feeling good.
Right.
And the cucumber and lemon makes me feel good.
How long did she do it?
Well, see, she didn't really exactly do it because, like, she'd sort of skip it some days, and other days she'd remember, like, 20 minutes before lunch and, toss down a little bit of it, and then she'd have lunch. And the idea of this is, as I say, it's a fast. So suppose you have it and then you don't eat for an hour and a half. Well, you've sped up your metabolism slightly and also caused yourself to process certain things you wouldn't have processed by doing that. So you're a little ahead of the game. But you can't really expect something like that to cause weight loss.
Yeah, and weight loss is tricky anyway.
Yes,
it doesn't always show up on the scale, but that doesn't mean it's not going on in your body.
Well, that's true.
And so if you go by just the scale, that's a guarantee for frustration, and then
frustration and failure.
Yeah, and then you give up because you don't see the number you want, and you go, this isn't working, and
it's true. It's true, especially for
throw away the scale, please.
Yeah.
Good.
I can't because I needed to weigh my cats. But before my cats, I never had a scale in my home. I just couldn't care less.
No.
Well, one thing that I think is interesting is that Franny is actually successful at losing weight, obviously, because with all the mistakes she makes and the wrong things she eats, she has maintained the same weight for probably several years.
Yeah.
So obviously, in addition to putting on weight, she's also losing it. And if she wants her trend to be down, then what she's going to need to do is to, assess the things that are causing the loss and the things that are causing the gain, and eliminate one and accentuate the others, and possibly add some new things. But maybe not. Maybe just do the same things but less of them. So this is this is important for a lot of people. If somebody's been 300 pounds for a year and a half, they need to realize that they could be 600 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people who gain that kind of weight.
You know what I think? I think that the important thing is that you really decide, okay, I really want to lose weight. Because my brother, who was overweight, he used to eat, I can't tell you what, half a kilo of pasta. Yes, half a kilo. It was incredible. At a certain point, he really decided, he started going to the gym, around by bicycle a lot, and dieting. He was on a vegetarian diet, and in around a couple of months, he lost 15 kilos. And now he looks very good. But what triggered it was his decision. He really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
He came to Jesus. He made a decision.
Well, the other thing that you've touched on before, and I'll say it again because it is important, is that it's not a diet where you go on and then you go off, This is something you got to do for the rest of your life. He's not going to be able to go back to eating a pound of pasta. It's just, be fat again. So that's why it's important to make it something that's totally doable and, painless, and, that you can do this for the rest of your life, that you enjoy it, that it's something that's, you don't have to think about, and it's just the way you are.
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting point, because I don't drink cucumber juice when I wake up in the morning. I drink grapefruit juice.
That's good too.
Yeah.
Because I I like the grapefruit juice then better. When I have the lemon cucumber water is when I come back from my run, where I'm not going to eat for another hour and a half or 2 hours, but I need a pick-me-up. And see, I do all these things to make me feel better.
Right.
I have grapefruit juice in the morning because when I wake up, I want to put something in my digestive system that alkalizes me and just kicks everything in and makes me, I feel emptier after the grapefruit juice than before it.
Yeah.
Somebody also puts ginger.
Oh, good.
There is a video on my Facebook wall with a girl who makes the lemon and cucumber water, and she also adds ginger.
Good idea. Okay.
If you want, I will send it to you, to both of you.
That's good.
Okay.
Send it to us on Facebook. I don't do email anymore. I really never look at my email. I just all I do is look at my, that's another thing. I'd really like you to look at your Facebook wall a little more often, Jen, because I'd like to be able to communicate with you there, just send you a message or something,
Okay. That's the best way, right?
Yeah, just check it. I don't do email, so it's not going to...
See, I only do email. I don't...
It's a question of habit.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to be on Facebook until I went into the cure team, and now I am like Bayard. I have to tell myself, oh my God, I have to look at my mails because I'm always on Facebook and I forget my mails.
Right.
And some people still write to me by mail.
Oh boy.
But it's just a habit.
Well, to me, a good one, because I was finding email very tiresome.
Yeah, that's probably why I don't want to go on Facebook, because I'm burned out after all the email.
Truthfully, raise your mic to Jen.
Okay.
Raise your mic. I was, when I was looking at email, I couldn't tell anything about it, and see on Facebook at a glance I could see everything. It's just so much easier for me, because it's got pictures, it's got graphics, it's got, the type is bigger. It's just completely different. I'm looking at email, and there's so much spam in it, and Facebook keeps the spam out. It's pretty good that way.
But there's a lot of things I would not put on a Facebook wall, that I will write in an email to my friends or family. So. Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe. I'm sure there are. My mind is going crazy. I'm trying to imagine these things.
You never know.
Yeah, really. Also, I've started tweeting a little bit. I'm sort of enjoying doing it because it's short, and I like, it's training me to do very short, profound things. So I'm enjoying that.
Good. That's cool.
Oh, and I wanted you to, actually one of my tweets got turned into a graphic. Jen, when you go later, if you go on my Facebook wall, go scroll down and you'll see I think it's the best graphic Franny ever did. It's utterly beautiful. It's with this great picture I took. So I wanted you to see it. So
I'll check it out.
Okay, so to go back to the this thing about emotional eating, that so the tip, okay, I'm trying to turn this into one of these short little tips. The tip is appreciate. And to appreciate means to raise in value. Like, appreciate people's intention for you to be healthy. And even if they're unloving and judgmental when they talk to you, and they're struggling, and you know, you feel like, see, I was testing that advice is unloving. You know, it's just not loving to give somebody advice. You know, like, especially, the more it goes towards pontificating, the more unloving it is. And the tip is to appreciate the person's goodness behind whatever, however unloving they may be. You know, to appreciate the goodness behind it. And see if some illumination can come. And also, another tip is that to do this, you gotta be in touch with what happens to you from each and every last thing you eat. So, at any given point when you feel a certain way, to ask, well, what part of this, I mean, after you've done your Immunics and you've removed all the symptoms that were just, you know, problems with your other bodies than your physical, ask yourself, okay, what did this? Is it lack of sleep? Is it, and be open to all the things, because it can be lack of sleep, and also I ate a little more pasta than the pasta was fine, but I ate a little more than I should have, and also I didn't exercise today, and also whatever. And have you ever noticed that a lot of people don't like exercising?
I don't get it.
Because you love exercising, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And Ross, do you love exercising?
Yes, very much.
And me too. Now, but I want to tell you like a story. I don't know if you Ross, have you ever seen the Oprah Winfrey Show?
Maybe once or twice.
All right, then you wouldn't remember this. And Janet, you probably saw it when you were in America, right?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, you may not have seen this either, but I used to watch it a lot. You know, I love Oprah. And Oprah, when she was doing stuff about weight loss and exercise, and she sometimes would have her trainer on, and she would show herself exercising, and she would be talking while she was on the treadmill. And she would say, I hate this. I hate exercising. I hate it. I can't stand exercising. You know what? Now you know why Oprah's fat.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's one, you know, exercise will not cause weight loss if you do not do your diet properly. Also, if you do everything in the wrong rhythm, you're going to have problems. Like, for one thing, your muscles will develop the wrong way. You know, one thing I've always liked, I've noticed pictures of your body that you put up on the web, Jen, on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that your body is developed the right way. Like, you have the right amount of softness in your body, even though you have defined abs and so on, and you're very flexible, and I'm sure you're a great martial artist, you know. But you do not have those, like, you know, like really kind of hideous muscles, you know, that people get.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, you know, and I think you have a good way of managing your day. You know, I think that's a good part of it, that your rhythm of life that you're in is good. You sleep the right way. You know, you were saying, like, you go to sleep at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You know, and you get up around 5, and that's a good way to live. Very good way to live, you know, because according to Chinese medicine, that's the best time to sleep.
Well, Benjamin Franklin, who is a relative of mine.
That's right, you're one of the Franklins.
Well, that was my name before.
Yeah, right.
He said, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
And it worked for a woman, too.
Yeah. Exactly.
I once tested that Franny was Benjamin Franklin.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
He was a brilliant man.
Yeah, well, Franny's a brilliant woman.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, she is.
You know, so these are all these, you know, tips that we're, like, putting in here, which is, like, a lot of this, like, I wanted to just give Tony Robbins some credit before we get off, because
Yeah,
you
he's
know,
great.
yeah, he is, you know, and there's something that he does that we don't do in the cure drive. It's not like part of curing, you know, because we're about curing physical diseases, basically, like cancer and so on, and you can't do that. I mean, let's put it this way, you actually probably could do it using Tony Robbins' thing, but it would be very clunky. You know,
Yeah.
it'd be virtually impossible for anybody. Possibly for Tony Robbins, he could do it. You know, an interesting story about Tony Robbins is that Tony Robbins once brought somebody back to life who died of a heart attack during one of his courses.
Really?
Like the guy died in the middle of one of his courses, and he just kept like working on this dead guy, yelling at him to come back. And you can't go now. You can't. You're like, you can't abandon ship at this point. You're just avoiding what's in this course. You know, the guy, like, that was his way of escaping the course. And the guy came back and wrote Tony Robbins a letter. Like years later, he wrote to him and he said, "Thanks for bringing me back because I had a good life. You know, I've done good things, and you were right. You know, I needed to come back." And,
So do you think it's true?
yeah, of course it's true. So the thing is that he, you know, you can do all this stuff with, you know, by just changing your mind. You know, listen, people cure things all kinds of ways. It's just that they don't know how they did it. And what we're trying to do, of course, if you talk to a Christian, you know, like for example, you know who Joel Austin is? He's a Christian minister. And his mother cured cancer like 20 years ago by just saying, "Jesus, I'm not ready to go take this cancer." And she cured the cancer, and she was sitting in the front row like smiling as he was telling the story. I saw it on a video on TV. And the thing is, you can do it that way, but if you asked her how she did it, she'd say, "Well, I asked Jesus to do it, and Jesus did it." And the thing is, what we do is, Jesus is curing the people we cure too. But we make Jesus a lot more accessible to them than Jesus is to most people. You know, it's like, you know, you can get a whole series of answers and know when you're doing the right and wrong thing, and, you know, and do all the things you need to do and cure your cancer that way. So, but as far as I like Tony Robbins because with weight loss, you really have to manage your thoughts.
Yeah.
And our thing is very clunky with managing your thoughts. Like the thing I like about Robbins is like he just tells you to manage your thoughts directly. Just say to yourself, "Oh, isn't so-and-so wonderful?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I have to say something, Jen, about my relationship with you.
Mm-hmm.
I have had a lot of very, very wonderful people in my life, throughout my life. And many of them were like, you're descended from Benjamin Franklin. Well, you know, for example, Greg is descended from Nathaniel Green.
Okay.
That's his his mother was Alva Green, named after her great-great-grandmother, who was Alva Green, who was Green's wife. And so forth. So I still have had a lot of marvelous people in my life, all my life. And you know, like the difference in me now and me then is I find myself reminding myself of your strengths just out of nowhere, you know, not apropos of nothing really, but it enables me to do a better movie.
Cool.
You know, it enables me because I remember like what you're capable of. I can remember that, and Ross too, and everybody, you know, and I'm doing better work. I'm doing way better in my work, and that's Tony Robbins, you know, that is just that little thing of you just choosing to look at what's good and to recognize, you know, and to keep reprogramming and refreshing myself in terms of like, they call it, you know, neuro-linguistic, or he calls it neuro-emotional programming, or I can't remember what he calls it, but anyway, it's something where you just recreate that awareness, you know, like remind myself of the insight that I've had about you, that, you know, you're good at kickboxing, or you tend to eat well, or whatever it is, you know, and I can then draw on that
Thank
we're
you.
interacting, you know. So, it makes for interesting work, you know.
I do. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, good. Well, you know, I also have to say that the main thing about you, and I keep reminding myself of this too, you say the right thing at the right time. You have a tendency to do that. And you know what I'm noticing about Ross, when you're working with people, you know, you have changed a little bit over, or maybe more than a little bit over the years, and you do very sophisticated things with people when you work with them.
Really?
Yeah, you don't just do the usual stuff. You know, you have amazing insights, and you do things that I wouldn't have thought of. So I have to remember, have Ross on because she'll do something I wouldn't think of.
Yeah, I feel Ross is very intuitive. She really knows. I don't know. I think she's got a lot of God direction. That's what I feel.
God direction, and you're going with that more. You always had it. You're going with it more now, Ross. You know, and it's good. It's very, very helpful.
Yeah.
That's why doing Immunics is cumulative, because the more you do it, and the more you receive guidance.
That's right.
You know, there was a Zen master who said, you know, you give them 40% and you expect them to get the rest.
Yeah.
And I think God works like that. That God gives you a bit, and then if you work with it, God keeps giving to you. So yeah, at some point, you, God gives you a lot as you go, you know, the longer you go, the more God gives you.
Yeah.
So the thing with fast weight loss is that way, that, you know, to come back to this emotional eating thing, you know, if you're eating emotionally, you can't have guidance. Because your emotions are guiding you.
Right.
So if you eliminate those, then God can get in there.
Yeah.
You know, and also if you have a whole bunch of mental ideas, get rid of all those. Like, stop eating what you think you're supposed to eat. You know, eat what you know works, or nothing. That's fasting. Don't eat anything. If you don't know something's going to work, don't eat anything. You know, if you're out at dinner with people and you look at the menu in the restaurant and you say, oh, there's nothing here I can eat, then don't order anything. And
I'll co-sign on that one.
Yeah, then God can get in. At that point, God can get in, and God will give you what you want. You can feel, you know, God wants us to feel good. That's, I think, the thing to close with. You know, this is the end of our little call for today. God wants us to feel good. Yeah?
Well, I think I've mentioned this once before, but I'll say it again. I have used Immunics to decide what to eat and to how much of it to eat, and it never fails me, truly. So I go in the refrigerator, I say, is there something here, you know, if I can't really decide what to do, something here that would be best, and go through testing what's in there, and I get it, and then, you know, I go, is this the right amount, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, and it works for me.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, it's right for me.
Yeah. I went through that, you know, I did that for a while, and it's great. And you know, then I went back to, you know, just knowing, you know.
Right, yeah.
But I knew more and more directly because I'd been doing the testing. And also, you know, frankly, sometimes when I'm in trouble, I do test. Because, boy, I thought like beans were going to help my condition at one point, you know, when I was having a problem with gout. I tested no on that.
Yeah.
And later I read that they cause gout, but, you know, I just think, for whatever reason, I thought, cut the meat out, you know, but
Well, also things change with your body and what what you need. It might be good for you at one phase in life, and then it's not. So it's good to continually test and.
Oh yeah. Well, I added beans back in the other night.
Yeah.
And I was fine.
Right.
You know, I mean, it was just something I had to drop for a while. Yeah, that's another thing, is that people need to be like aware that there is no program. Like, you have to orient. This is another one of these little tips. You got to orient yourself every minute, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, most people look at you, Jen, and they say, or Ross for that matter, and they say, oh, she doesn't really need to think about diet and all. I wish I was like her. I could eat all I wanted whenever, I could have, anything. And it just isn't like that.
No, it's not like that for anybody that is over 18 and has a nice body. You have to do something for that.
You know what?
It's not possible. And it's ever changing, and you can, it can be simple. It really can.
Boy, people feel like they're defective because they're overweight, and they think, oh, I just hate myself because I have to diet, and other people have so much fun, and they don't have to. They don't realize that, like, they're normal. They don't know they're normal.
Yeah, it is totally.
The main reason why, especially women, go on a diet is to have a good figure. It's not to feel well, to eat the right things, but just to have a good figure. And that's a big mistake.
Right.
Yeah, if you do it to feel good, you will get the nice figure.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah. Like, I think with your martial arts, you do them to feel a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
And so it makes you feel good. That's why you're doing it, to feel good. It's the same thing. Well, great. Okay. I think this movie was given to you by HUM, the World Ministry of Immunics, which enables you to cure medically incurable diseases. We also produce the Cure Drive in the iCollege of Immunics. This is the home page. And as you see here, the movie that starts playing automatically when the page opens is a 3-hour tutorial film, which underneath it is the beginning of a series of movies. If you click on these links, you go to another movie that's a continuation of the tutorial, showing different aspects of the things that people need to get into when they cure things. The movie shows many people curing things. You'll find complete cure tutorials on the home page. Under the group at the top is another, this is a video and text tutorial, and if you click on the link, you'll see it has 10 lessons, and you can click on each lesson and you'll see that the lessons are movies interspersed with explanations. And if you continue scrolling down the home page, you'll find a huge bank of movies of people curing things. Here's one of someone curing multiple sclerosis that you can click on and these play. Hopefully this one will play in a moment. There it is. So that woman cured PPMS and MS. Here you'll find people from every continent: Europe, the US, Asia, Canada. This woman cured shingles, and in this particular movie that's what she's demonstrating. And at the top of the home page you will find links to the cure meetings that we have every week. 9 p.m. New York time, Rome time 8 p.m. Underneath the cure meetings you'll find a link to Friend Me. It's actually Byard. I'm Byard, speaking to you on Facebook. and you'll meet many people who are my Facebook friends there who have cured various diseases. Many of us have cured herpes, which is what I cured. Also there, if you have trouble getting signals, there is a whole bank of movies that focus on people who are just starting to get their first signals. Many of these people went on to bigger and better things, and you see them in other movies. But these are movies about their signals, how they got their first signals. At the very top of the home page, you will find above the masthead a link to the cure shows. And we documented people curing things on, we did this on the phone. There are shows on about 75 diseases, and the diseases are listed alphabetically, as you can see. You actually hear the people curing these diseases during these shows. That's post-traumatic stress syndrome from 9/11, the catastrophe. We have a show on that, and fever, somebody curing the fever, several people curing fibromyalgia, flu. We had a flu hotline, and there are many people. These people are actually curing flu, and the flu stops. It clears up during the 15 or 20 minutes of the call. It doesn't take long to cure the flu. Over here you have paralysis, parasitic parenting, Parkinson's disease. When you cure something, please join your voice with the voices of the many people who came before you by reporting your cure in our poll, which you can do right above the tally of the cures that people have reported is here at the top. And as you can see, there's a little link here. And if you click on that, you will come to a form that enables you to report your cure. This page is the hub of the Web College, and as you can see, there are detailed lessons on how to remove viruses, cure cancer, end trauma, recode your DNA, reclaim your organs, and other issues that people are interested in, such as the safety web. These are the main lessons of the Web College. And there are also movies here. Here's a movie on the right here of a doctor who actually years ago cured the flu on camera. So you can click on these two and play. He's demonstrating how he's doing it. They filmed him in his office. We've tried to provide you with everything you need here, and I wish you happy curing. Please be in touch with us.